What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Iron Maiden, and we're back with another tune from their album Number of the Beast, which I've mentioned it before. This is where my journey with Iron Maiden began, because, you know, when I talked to my friend a few years back, he sort of mentioned that, you know, not only are their lyrics about history and literature and sort of world religions and stuff that, you know, he knew I was, you know, going to grad school as a historian, so he's like, I think you'd really be interested in a lot of their lyrics. But he also mentioned, you know, for me, the real sort of voice of the band is Bruce Dickinson. So I just sort of followed that lead. I'm glad I did. No offense to the other people who've been singers. I think there were two main other singers, one before Paul Di'Anno, and then I think Blaze Bayley was during the period where Bruce had left. But I do think there were a couple other singers in the very early days. Nevertheless, for me, this is where the story of Iron Maiden has begun. So, like I said, we're going to go back to the Number of the Beast again. So fond of this album. It really just lit my brain on fire and, you know, made me continue a journey that I'm now still on with a lot of these people here. I really did want to mention, I appreciate it so much that people have been watching some of these Iron Maiden reactions and, you know, going back and forth with me about the song contents and sort of the albums and the progression of their sound and the different things that they've sort of explored lyrically. It really means a lot to me, and like really excited to talk about music, especially Iron Maiden, with fans that have been listening for a little longer than I have. So yeah, shout out to all of you. I did mention in another video that I recently ordered a copy of Live After Death. I think it's going to be here either tomorrow or the next day, so pretty soon I'm going to be able to react to some live 80s Iron Maiden, so I'm very excited about that. Nevertheless, we're going to listen to Children of the Damned on this album. I find this tune interesting for a couple different reasons. Like, one, I think musically it's interesting because even though there is like a faster segment with a couple guitar solos near the end, for the majority of the tune it has this sort of slower, heavier sound. I won't necessarily say it's like a ballad, but it definitely has a slower groove. It's not so like energetic and like rocking as some of the other tracks on the album, but it does have a weight to it. It is a very like heavy tune, especially in the chorus. Lyrically, it's interesting. I think you could take it a couple different ways. I think in a more direct interpretation, it could be taken as paying homage to the movies Village of the Damned and Children of the Damned. They were like in the 60s, although I think they did make a remake in the 90s, now that I remember. But yeah, it's basically a movie about these kids which have supernatural, or who have supernatural powers, and ultimately, you know, are in conflict with local adult authorities, and, you know, they're being chased by the military. And I think there is reference to some of those things in the song. But I remember when I started listening to it, and I was, you know, really excited by the creativity and sort of metaphors and symbolism of their lyrics, I started thinking that maybe this song could be taken as sort of a metaphor for the way in which young people like have to push back against the sort of crazy way that adults have done things, and the way that they sort of try to push kids into, like, you know, the right pegs in life, and here, come over here, do this, don't do that, stand this way, go to this school, do that. And they're ultimately not, in many cases, allowed to be young and just sort of enjoy their life at home and so on. And so I remember thinking that there are a couple lines in the song that I think maybe could be taken as like a metaphor for like young people resisting the sort of insanity and violence of the adult world and being rushed into that matrix and system, and wanting just a bit of freedom, and like, hey, look, you know, these adults, they're going to take us all down and make us, you know, die, like, you know, by getting involved in all these things. So again, that might just be my own sort of subjective interpretation, or it is my subjective interpretation, but I might be off base there. But like I said, when I heard the song originally, I felt like, all right, I can see how this is directly related to the movies, but I could also see it as a sort of like young people trying to resist the sort of like hell on earth that adults have created across generations and around the world. So I don't know, let me know what you think. Let me know if you have a different interpretation, or let me know if you think it's really just kind of about the movies and whatever, which, you know, I will not be offended in any way if that's the opinion that comes back, because ultimately, as I mentioned before, any lyrical analysis I do is never definitive. But certainly when it comes to Maiden, who I have not been listening to as long as, you know, people who've known them for 30, 40 years and so. So yeah, like I said, I'm always interested to hear what other people have to say. Once again, I did want to give a shout out to the people watching. I really do appreciate you. So let's get it. This is Children of the Damned from Iron Maiden's album, The Number of the Beast, 1982. sort of feel and intensity than a lot of the other songs on the album. So it looks like a kid, but it's got eyes of fire that'll burn you away. Gets a grit and a heaviness in the chorus especially. Come on, Bruce. Part of it was the title too, you know, hearing the line about like, hey, he would have crucified us all if I didn't take him out, and the children of the damned, like, it's the damned are the parents, right? Like, I know people think of it as the kids, but it's like, come on, Bruce. Here we go. I love this part. It has a sense of anticipation. You know, we're building towards something. Like it's gonna break out of the cage. And I like the like one guitar like, you know, the stings kind of, but then the background is like, the drums are sort of rolling. It's like the same melodic line of the chorus, but faster and like in their sort of Castlevania idiom, as I keep saying. Oh my god. She's been slaying guitar solos for 40 years. I don't know if that was Murray or Smith there, but again, I haven't been listening long enough where I can tell the difference between the guitar work yet, but I'm trying to hear it. Your backs are against the wall, turning to the light, burning in the night. You hear how at the end of Damned, he got like more raspy and sort of gritty at the end of that shout. That was amazing. Again, you know, the human air raid siren is not an inaccurate description. Yeah, so let me know what you think about the song. Let me know if, again, for you, it's just more about, you know, the movies that the lyrics are making reference to, or if there is some sort of allegorical meaning there, whether or not it's the one that sort of I took from it. But like I said, I do like that song because it sort of stands out musically. At least the first like 2/3 of the song has a different rhythm and a, you know, slower pace than a lot of the other album. But I do like the way it sort of breaks out of the cage and really sort of, you know, goes to town with those solos right at the end. It's fantastic. So yeah, let me know what you think about that one. Let me know. I don't know if that's one that they play at a lot of concerts. As I mentioned before, I'm going to see them later this year. I'm so excited about it. But it does make me wonder, you know, like what songs from their older albums do they often play? What songs from their old albums do they not play? Like I once read that Steve Harris isn't altogether fond of the song Flight of Icarus. So I remember reading someone saying online, like, yeah, they never really play that one. You know, I don't know if I've ever heard that at one of their shows where I've seen them. So like, I'm aware there's some songs that I'm fond of that might not even be in the mix, but I am intensely keen to know what songs they play and whether, you know, this is one that anyone's ever heard at a live show. So let me know. And again, give me a shout if there's any other Iron Maiden song that you'd like to hear me react to. Shout out to all the Iron Maiden fans out there who have been commenting on some of the videos and making some requests and just giving me more information about the different albums and songs. I really do appreciate it. Up the irons. Have a good day, have a good night, and I will see you next time. Peace.